with cops. And I checked the news and talked to some locals, talked to folks Friday who live in the area and go to that theater. They said there's always cops there on the, I mean, 6 or 7 during the weekend, but on a Thursday night at a premiere, probably 4 or 5. But no cops. Oh, yeah. And all they did, I watched these press conferences. Dave Mustaine's been visiting me this weekend with his wife. And we sit there and watch the press conferences. The police chief and the governor never talk about the families. It's all about what a great job they've done and how they're traumatized. Bunch of weirdos. All right, I'm going to try to accelerate through your phone calls and first go to those that are calling us from Colorado. But we'll get to everybody. When I look at my children and how innocent and good they are, and I think about a 1-year-old child shot in the face at point-blank range by the multiple men that the witnesses saw inside, firing and the tear gas coming from different sides, and the person that let him in and all the rest of it. When I think about all this, and I think about the fact that it's so well documented that thousands of U.S. troops have been nerve gassed, biological weaponed, radioized, hit with radiologicals, radiated, in the name of just research and studies, and have died, many of them. And that black men were shot up with syphilis, and little kids worldwide by the UN are given live polio and killed or paralyzed. And then it's just a minor footnote in the back of the paper, and then 12 people get killed, and it's half-mast, and oh my gosh, as a nation, we're under attack, let's give all our rights up. It's the fact that they're hyping it is another telltale sign. So they picked Batman thinking that would supercharge it, and now they can also have a security rollout of TSA-type security, which they're now calling for at the malls, at the grocery stores, and at the movie theaters. And when you go there, they are now going to want to pat you down, just like at the football games. It's a total transformation to being slaves. And it's been done scientifically. And even if this isn't staged, as Rahm Emanuel has said, in fact, will you cue this up? Rahm Emanuel's quote, "Don't let a good crisis go to waste." We have that in the computer. But just look it up. He was on C-SPAN. Don't let a good crisis go to waste. They are certainly using this to take our liberties. And how dare the president of Mexico say, restrict our guns. He's quoted today as saying we've got to restrict our guns. They have total gun bans in Mexico, just like Chicago or New York, and their crime rate is unbelievably higher. I mean, in some areas, it's 100+ times higher than ours. With a total gun ban. No, we don't want to live like that. Thank you very much. We'll keep our guns. You can keep the change. This is a group of radical globalists doing this. And if you don't think they won't shoot a theater full of Americans to get their takeover of this country, the globalists hate Americans more than they hate Iraqis, folks. Okay, just remember that. Let's go ahead and talk to Sylvia in Aurora, Colorado, right where this went down. Sylvia, thank you for joining us. Obviously, our prayers and hearts go out to all of you out there, because 1 person or 12 people dead is a huge deal, even if the globalists are trying to hype it to terrorize us. What's your view on this?
Hi, Alex. I'm glad to be on the show. I'm calling. I live on Alameda, actually, which is the street that the movie theater is on. It's about maybe 3 miles, probably 2 miles away. I mean, I just want to comment on the whole, did he act alone? On 9 News, the local news here in Denver, first they reported that there was somebody who, answered the cell phone, or, he went to go step out to make a call, and he went to the emergency exit. But, that's a red flag right there. Just because, when your phone rings in the movie theater, if you're going to take the call, you're going to go out the way you came, So that's the point that I wanted to make. And then, not even today, this morning, I'm sitting at work and CNN is on, and it's John McCain talking about here, the actual, I'm going to quote the topic. It said, "Curbing gun violence," and then the subtitle under it was, "Are tighter gun laws needed?" Which is just crazy. It just happened, like my brother said. He said it just happened. It's going to happen like clockwork. They're going to use this.
Well, exactly. There have been other mass shootings, and when they haven't staged it, they don't do this. They're lined up. They're ready. They've got the whole media pushing. And what's coming up in the next week and a half? The UN treaty. I mean, look, they had a couple votes. One article says 1 vote or 2 votes they need. They were going to lose. They weren't going to get this ratified. And Obama still said he was going to sign it. Now he gets to go grandstand. He's there now. I don't know if he's spoken yet.
Yes, and then also, I live about 2 miles from the theater, and I also live about like maybe 5 or 6 miles from homes as residents. So yesterday when I got off work, I drove by there to take some pictures, and I got some pictures, but I couldn't get out of the car because I had my 10-week-old with me. But today I want to go back on foot, and actually get the pictures. I was wondering if there's a way I could send them to you, or... Are
you kidding? Absolutely. Citizen reporters, that's what we are, so please help us. I'm going to put you on hold and give us... give you one of our more private emails to make sure we check it. Chris, will you give her your email and make double sure that when those come in that we get them to the webmasters? And also give her Kurt's email or Aaron's. Give her a couple. Absolutely. I've thought about getting in a plane and going up there because I'm sick of this. This is a big deal, folks. I could tell the way they've been acting and the way they've been behaving that they were going to... Have you noticed how much I've been covering the Second Amendment the last 3 weeks if you're a listener?
Yes. And it's so crazy how this just happened, like clockwork. I've been listening, Alex, and I've been listening to you covering the Second Amendment, and it's just so crazy how this all happened. But
did you see where the FBI in Denver said, look for theater attacks in the middle of May last month, or June? In the middle of... Yeah, they put... Well, I mean, we've got the flyers on the site. They said get ready for theater attacks, but here's what's funny. When this happened, they pulled that warning off their site. Why would they pull it? Tell us what threat they knew of. Why would they pull that?
Wow. It's all staged,
You were going to say something else when I rudely interrupted. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm just saying it's all staged, but let me see. I took a couple notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. I wanted to say it. Well, I have a couple pictures already right now on my phone, and I'm on my way home. I actually was supposed to be working overtime, but I left because I didn't want it to get dark before, I could get some more pictures. So that's where I'm on my way to right now, so go ahead and do that.
Well, thank you so much, and be safe. Do you know anybody who has family that was injured or killed?
I don't know. I didn't have anybody. Actually, my dad just told me yesterday he has a broker friend that she did know some people who were killed. So, my condolences go out to her.
That's terrible. Well, thank you so much, Sylvia. God bless you. We're going to go to another call now. Look forward to those photos. We'll post them at Infowars.com. Let's go ahead and take another call from Littleton, Colorado, very close to the scene of this. Let's talk to Scott. Scott, thanks for holding. Welcome.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
Good.
It's been quite a rough weekend for me. I actually was under lockdown during Columbine, so went to one of the elementary schools where Dylan had went rather. But I actually had a specific question for you. I was going over an article on ABC today and actually happened to notice that one of my old basketball teammates was hit on Friday. So I actually happened to see on the same article that there was a video released of James Holmes doing a dissertation at his college, and it did a presentation on temporal illusions and subjective experience. And I happened to look that up, and it turns out that has to do with mind control, brainwashing, time gaps, and it is directly related to LSD. And
no. Exactly. Theodore Kaczynski, the Unabomber, was in a similar program to him. So was Major Hassan. That's what I'm saying, folks. They grab these students. Stay there. Okay, for those that don't know, I have been allowed into the University of Texas neuroscience department by a research scientist that was there a long time ago. He's since moved on to an even more prestigious, there's not many that kind of narrows the field, university. They had monkeys. I was looking at video feeds of monkeys out in Bastrop and Smithville by the hundreds with television sets with wires into their brains, flickering in their faces just to test what flicker rate to tune televisions to make you most suggestible and put you into a dream state. And I found out all these other universities just constantly are testing flicker rates on how to create suspended disbelief. Where a lot of people there watching the film sat there while they were being shot thinking it was part of the movie. That's how into it they get. They're zombies, basically. It's mind control. But yes, we did find the ABC News video he's talking about. We're pulling up the transcript now. But the terms that the caller just mentioned that we're checking right now do deal with this. And I looked at the department he was in. Of course, they're all like this. But over 90% of it is Department of Defense and DARPA funded. And he is in an advanced, I mean, they were saying he was one of the most advanced PhD students going for PhD, top of his class, promising, all this other stuff. And sure, that's the type that sometimes breaks and goes crazy, but more often than not, because I didn't figure any of this out. I saw it with Hassan at Fort Hood, who we know they were protecting, with Theodore Kaczynski. That's in the LA Times. That when they declassified MK Ultra, Theodore Kaczynski was in it. Oh, and then he becomes the Unabomber. And I just deal with this over and over and over again. And then the second most famous mind control doctor in U.S. history, Jolyon West, the protege of Ewan Cameron. Just look these names up. Just type Ewan Cameron in. I mean, they have PBS shows about them kidnapping children and turning them into new people and taking troops and drugging them and then turning them into assassins. This was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I mean, they take you and electroshock therapy you and show you the Joker movie 2,000 times or whatever and then shock you and torture you and then say the pain goes away when you do what you're told. That's how the Japanese created the ninja. They would go out and do one assassination in their life that they trained for more than a decade for and then commit seppuku and kill themselves. That was done simply with exotic drugs and sex. They would take young men, train them for about a decade as assassins with drugs, sex, but also training. And then they would go out and commit an assassination, but you didn't want to get caught. They were very expensive. Ninja are real. But the movies don't tell you what, but they would then commit suicide. That was why a ninja was so expensive. Is that with primitive Japanese technology 500 years ago, they had what they call the disposal trigger. And a lot of these mind control guys have that. You see the last Bourne movie, what's the name of it? Oh, the Bourne Supremacy. Folks, that's so accurate. Because I mean, I've read all the documents that are public. It gave me chills. The Bourne Supremacy is what they do. I mean, that's real. They were doing those tests in Vietnam on Special Forces soldiers. The problem is somebody like that's usually very smart, very capable, focused. A lot of times the programming wears off or they break out of it. So who do you want? You want highly intelligent young people. They go after very young nerd types. Because they've tried to do it with mildly mentally retarded Muslims and stuff. Remember the guys that bombed the World Trade Center? FBI cooked the bomb, trained the driver. That came out in the New York Times even because their own people leaked it. Those guys had like 75 IQs. The FBI threw fits for months trying to teach them how to drive a car. Then they didn't park it up against the right column and the rest of it, so it didn't bring the whole building down. It made them really upset. They wanted to get the job done then, not in 2011. Or 2001. All right, I'm going to shut up. Let's go back to Scott in Littleton, Colorado. Yeah, we found the video. We're going to obviously cover this. Thank you for bringing this up. We're not sure if Scott's still there. Is Scott still there? Okay, he's there. Good. Scott, give us your take on this.
Well, I can tell you I actually, ironically, just came across some articles on Columbine about 2 weeks ago while I was in Hawaii, and I started to understand there's quite a possibility it was a false flag. There was an explosion at Wadsworth and Chatfield as a diversion, common terrorist tactic. So
they put 127 bombs in the building.